So it is super hot here in Ohio. Why is it in reverse? It is 79, let me see if I can get this right, but 28 degrees, 27 degrees here in Ohio. Beautiful day. My opening consisted of Travis and I talking about some of the babies that he liked. And I wanted to do that because really, quite frankly, we didn't have a great day at the track. We've had our pretty highs, but keep in mind, we don't have Ontario to prop us up either. I mean, if you have the bad run in Indiana, if you have the bad run in Ohio this week, Pennsylvania, stake races that we didn't have much luck in, yeah, it doesn't make for a very fun opening video. But at the same time, we still got lots going on, and you're going to have bad weeks. I don't care who you are. So I want to talk about, I was going to make a top 10 list. I said, that's unfair because I don't have a true feeling of what's going on in Ontario. So how do I mitigate that? How do I talk about the horses I want to talk about in the optimistic way? I want to talk about them without having hands-on knowledge of the horses. So I thought the easiest way to do it was just talk about 20 horses that I think are pretty exciting heading into the summer. Now, as soon as I said that out loud now, and as soon as I said it before when I said I was making the list, I thought to myself, man, there's going to be some people upset because their horses aren't on this list. That doesn't mean they're not going to be good. I couldn't put, as I said in the opening, I couldn't put Twinkle in Her Eye on the list because she needs to show me more, and I suspect when she sees the gate, she will, right? Century Invictus, another horse, didn't put him on the list. There's a number of horses. We can go do a list of horses I expect to be good in the summer of 2020, just sheer on spec. That wouldn't be fair to you. You can do that list. It's not hard to do that list. Horses I hope will be good in 2022 or 2021. Pretty easy list to do. Lots of horses on that list. But these are horses that have shown us that they're close, shown us that they have things to offer, and literally offered them. You know, even a horse like, I'm trying to look at a horse, Sweet on Pete, Travis talked about, been in 2.5, looked great. Hilla Magic, truthfully, if I was made, I don't want to number them. If I was made to number them, Hilla Magic, on what I hope and what I see and what I think could be, impressive looking 2-year-old heading into the summer. Arches Rainbow, very similar to Hilla Magic, scary fast, has made breaks. What's she going to look like in a situation of racing? Who knows? So I'm just going to go through them. I started in alphabetical order. I got to like 14. I'm like, should I whittle these down to 10? And that's not fair. There's a number of horses on this list that I think are very, very nice horses, and they should be on this list. So this is a little bit of a random list. I'm sorry for the people that don't have time to watch videos. Don't bother watching this one because this one's going to skip around a little bit. They're in no particular order. Now, obviously, I see an A and then an R. So no particular order, but at the same time, 20 horses that I think everybody should probably keep their eye on. These aren't spec. These are horses that have done very good, and I will tell you why they're on the list. Arches Rainbow has been in 2.5 and has looked good every step of the way. Johnny said again, very strong. He said, at Tomiko, I can lose her. I feel I could lose her and make a break. And I told him, I said, Johnny, don't beat yourself up. They don't have any stake races at Tomiko Training Center this year. They're at Mohawk, a lot of them. Grand River, Georgian Downs. Don't worry about Tomiko Training Center. You know, I'm happy with Arches Rainbow. This is a long, lean filly, but the one thing I love about her is she takes her job very seriously. And what Johnny meant by I could lose her is you could feel her put a couple of steps in, but more times than not, she comes up trotting. That is a good work ethic, and that is something that is impressive to me. Arches Rainbow easily on this list and belongs on this list. A legit trotting filly. Now, here's a filly that jumped onto the list simply because both Johnny and Jimmy have told me virtually out of nowhere they don't think any of the horses on the property can trot with this filly for a quarter of a mile. They think her move from Tomiko to Mohawk was extraordinary pretty well. I don't want to get too high. Extraordinary came to my head, but impressive is a word I use a lot, and she might have been more than impressive. For Jimmy and Johnny to tell me that Blue Bayou Dio disposed of their better horses and made them like it, exciting and impressive, but at the same time, she shows a ton of breaks at Tomiko. Now, I can mitigate that easily and just say, no problem. She's a New Jersey bred. The only half-mile track there is Freehold. You're talking about the Meadowlands, but I'm looking at saying, I don't know if I want to send her to the Meadowlands for June 30th for the Sire Stake races. Maybe we will after we see her qualify. That will tell the tale. But Blue Bayou Dio, lots of racing in Ontario for this filly also. Johnny had asked that I not take her to Ohio 2 weeks ago, and now I know why, because both him and Jimmy think this is an impressive filly. So will she go to the Meadowlands? I wouldn't rule it out, but I don't really care if she does or she doesn't. I think this is a filly that can do good things right here in Ontario with the opportunity to eye up racing later on in either New Jersey or Ontario or both. Renegade Gypsy, the fastest 2-year-old we have right now. This is going to flip-flop. 2-3, Mario said he trained him with World for 2. They both looked fantastic. 2-3 last half 59. He said last quarter in like 28, 29 seconds into the wind. He said they were very good. So I'm super excited to see Renegade Gypsy race this summer. This is a horse we all quietly, and you should have, and I certainly have pushed everybody in that direction to take a look at this colt. This colt looks the part, is the part. I know this sounds a lot like Walk on the Moon last year, and ultimately it's going to come down to how good are everybody else's horses and how healthy is he going to be able to stay all summer. The allergies going to play a role like they did with Walk on the Moon. So Renegade Gypsy is a horse I think is near the top of the list of 47, to be honest. 45 active horses we have. Obviously, Wildo in Hanover with her line in her foot's done, which is whatever. We talked about that. And Kathy with an eye getting over pneumonia is going to cost her a 2-year-old season probably. Also, so of the 45 active horses we have, Renegade Gypsy's near the top of the list, I think. I'm comfortable in saying that. Mischievous Rose, Johnny believes, he said, Anthony, Mischievous Rose can fly. He said, Blue Bayou Dio gave her all she wanted the other day, but at the same time, she's a New Jersey bred. As far as our Ontario breds go, Arches Rainbow, and he said, Mischievous Rose, I think, are a little bit ahead of everybody else. There's a number of really nice Ontario breds on this list, and a couple that really aren't. I didn't put Grace on here, even though Jimmy told me he believes she's as good as anybody in the property. Fine. I don't want to show bias. I want to see it. So show me in the qualifiers. But Mischievous Rose has shown she's a big, powerful filly. Does everything right. Johnny said she was fantastic the other day. Slim Jimmy obviously goes without saying. This horse been in 2-4 now, as fast as any of our horses have been. 2-3 in a piece, faster than any of our horses have been here in Ohio. But you guys know Slim Jimmy. He just does everything right. Wears a set of trotting boots and a head pole, trot all day long. Beautiful horse, and apparently looked great on Saturday training. Good for him. A horse that I'm torn on. I mean, we've seen this movie with the Sunshine Beaches before, where the horses just look bionic. But how are they when they have to face other horses that look good? Miss Mildred has a ton of questions to answer when she gets to the track. But man, she touched her knee the other day. I said to Johnny, he showed me a little speck of blood on the point of her knee. I said, it's not shocking. We've seen this with all the Sunshine Beaches we had. No Free Lunch did it last year. He ended up wearing knee boots, I believe, as we got him into the races. And so did the Colt before the year was Sunshine's Finest. The year before that, all these horses trained down, didn't really need knee boots, and all of a sudden did. Just pick a little bit. But he also said he had a stranglehold on her in coming in quarter in 27 and a piece 28. He thought she was incredibly good. Miss Mildred, the only question she has to answer is, can she beat the other horses in Ontario? Because she looks as good as you'd ever ask her to look. World for 2-3. Mario said he looked very, very good the other day. My only concern was, I said, have his knees injected. His knees were going to be a trigger for this horse. Had them injected, and if he has any issues over the next week or so, just back off. There's no rush. I'm not pushing you to get him to Pennsylvania. When he gets here, he gets here. If he gets here, lots of racing in Ontario for this colt. Just don't overdo it with him. And Mary said, no, he was great. I'll have his knees done. We'll look at him next week. He was very happy with him. Almost there, boss. Jimmy keeps saying this guy's just unbelievably good. Again, the Sunshine Beach questions I want answered. How is he when he's going to get up against other horses that are as good as him or better than him? Let's train him down and see how he is. I know Harry's been very quietly optimistic about this horse. But again, very interested. We did have now a little update. I think Wendy might have put it on the website anyway. Little update. We still have shares for sale of Almost There, boss. I don't want to overdo it and say, oh, he's so great, you should buy the shares. Buy them if you want. I think he's a nice colt. The client that sold us the shares, I told them I'm going to need a little time to sell the shares. I don't want to rush anything. I suspect by the time he gets near the qualifiers, there'll be people clamoring and wanting the shares. I believe they're back on the stable site right now. The only ask is what we paid for them to buy them back. So I think it's fair all around. You're getting top colt so far, at least in our midst, at cost. So if you're interested in a nice Ontario pacing colt, I don't think you can do much better than Almost There Boss right now, at least from what I've seen in our stable. And I know Brody's put him on the top of his list for a couple of weeks now. So Almost There Boss, good again training this week. Voyage of Ice and Fire goes without saying, this horse has been incredible. As good an Ohio trotter as I remember us having heading into staking season. Historically speaking, he should be fine. Does that matter at all? No, because I still don't know how everybody else's are. I know he looks like a really nice horse, so let's see how this plays out. As of right now, his only kryptonite is that whip, and when he sees the whip in front of him, he kind of gets a little spooked. So we just got to be a little careful with that. Something that has to be on the back of my mind every time he races. Try to avoid that as best we can. He looked great the other day on the front too. That might be a good way to avoid it right there. So Voyage of Ice and Fire, great. Procrastinator, probably one of the biggest turnarounds I've seen. Like, My Jazz did her work well last year. I know she was in the middle of the pack, and oh my God, she came out of nowhere. But she always looked like she was going to be a useful horse. Procrastinator had me concerned to the point, remember, we put this horse, and My Jazz also, a little factoid for you. My Jazz and Procrastinator were in the March sale in Ohio in their respective years and ended up coming back with spades. Procrastinator simply looked like a powerhouse training the other day. The way this horse has dealt with adversity, the way that he's persevered when it looked like there was no hope, has been incredible. He's got a winner's mentality. There is no two ways about that. And he manhandled everybody on Saturday. Super impressed with Procrastinator the way he is right now. LSL, keep your eye on LSL. This colt has looked very, very good. I've done my best to go with him and could not on the day behind the gate. That's the horse everybody thought made a break coming out of the gate the other day, and it was actually Prairie Fire. So LSL, keep your eye on this colt. He looked some good the other day. Very impressed with him. Bomb Hugger goes without saying. Bomb Hugger's just a really, really nice filly and has been great since day one. Dealing with her biting the right line and can't really figure out why. Nothing really sticks out. I've had the vet look at her twice. He thinks maybe her feet with the flip-flops on are a little soft. Try and get them off. We're going to take them off this week and see how she performs. But man, this filly, as I said, June 15th, I suspect a 59 2-minute qualifier at Northfield, no problem whatsoever. Rose Above It has kind of found him way. This is a colt. You guys remember, go back and look at my commentary videos. He could turn either way. He could turn into a runaway slob, or he could turn into a kind of a nice horse. I can't tell you how fast he's going to be. I know 2-4 last half and 58 was no problem for him this week at all. Very impressed with the way he's learning. And I was hoping this would happen, that a horse like him, when he's bottled up, not going as fast as he wants to, he doesn't learn anything because he was really angry and, stubborn, I guess is the best way to put it. But over the last week, we changed his gear. I took all the head pulls off him, just had a set of ear hood on him and a screen. Trained like a kitten the other day, and when I moved him, he was all business. Really impressed with this horse's maturity. 2-4 last half and 58 and a piece first over. It's a pretty good mile for any colt at the end of May of their 2-year-old year. I'm excited about this guy. Isa 10 goes without saying, this has been one of our top fillies from day one. Continues to be a top filly here in Ohio. We're going to make a few little shoeing adjustments with her along the way, but ultimately very impressed with what I've seen from her. Massive Profit, super happy. He made the break, ripped his shoe off with no hobbles on. I didn't know how he'd be with the hobbles on it. I just didn't. We put them back on him, back to the bike hobbles. Different horse. Justin Irvine went with him behind the gate the other day. He was great. And then Brody went with him yesterday training in a slower set and said he was fantastic again. You can see him now. He's got his head over the gate again. He's sharp. He's feeling good. I just love the direction this horse is heading in. Prairie Fire, as Travis talked about, just an absolute boss on the track. He looked very good. Made the break behind the gate. It wasn't his fault. He just got a little excited coming out of the gate. Maybe put a set of earplugs on him next week. But, man, he's ready to rock. He looks very, very good. Very impressed with Prairie Fire. Sweet on Pete. She's already trained good and looked good. Trained great yesterday. Put a little step in where she made a break down the backstretch on on the recorded day, but caught herself yesterday. We just hit the hobbles just a hair tighter. I thought she was very, very good yesterday. Of Tom, as we talked about, this filly has everything you need. Only problem is she's a year ahead of her maturity. She is a giraffe right now, eating great, feeling good, putting weight on, putting muscle on. Very excited about Of Tom. Does she have the snap speed to be a sire stake filly? I don't know. She's going to be fun to drive wherever we race her. I think she's going to be a handy filly, and I think she's going to get better and better and better and better as the year goes on. So we'll let her tell us when stake time comes along. 3 Point Blue Chip jumped on his foot the other day, the bugger. He's been sore for a couple of days, but he'll come around. My only concern is his mental maturity. Speed-wise, 2.6, 2.5, 2.7, he's done it well, but he's still quite a ways from saying, okay, we got to get this guy to New Jersey. I had talked to Russell, who ended up being a friend of ours and one of our clients and a partner of mine on 3 Point Blue Chip, and I said, listen, here's the scale of 3 Point Blue Chip. If he gets better, we can send him to New Jersey. Anything in between, take your time and get him right. He's staked to everything in North America. Very worst case scenario, and something I don't want to explore at this point, but it's worth bringing up. Geld him, turn him out, let him mature. That's a possibility. Don't take that the wrong way. That isn't me saying, got to get the nuts out of this guy, he's terrible. He's not. He won both his training sets. He is undefeated behind the bike, behind the car. Undefeated. So I'm happy with what I've seen, but when he's defeating, you got to believe, in 2.6 last half and 59, that's wonderful, but you got to believe he's an Ohio bred with moderate expectations. This is a colt we give 115 for. So the one thing I can guarantee you we're not going to do is just put him in to go to race him and say, well, we're just going to race him. I want this to be the best horse we have. And to do that, we have to allow him to be the best horse. So bring it to you in a very honest way. He could very well mature mentally, much like Rose Above It did, over the next couple of weeks, few weeks, and get better. That wouldn't be shocking. But if he doesn't, we have a number of paths for this guy. At the end of the day, he's doing his work well. And jumping on his foot, it's nothing like my jazz, and you don't have to worry about that. You just be like ripping the top off your knuckle. He'll be fine. Unbeatable Kemp was great again. Both Walners back-to-back. That's something. Unbeatable Kemp trained good on Saturday. We're going to get the flip-flops off him also. Very happy with him. Just had that splint crowd left front. But otherwise, he's starting to look really, really good. Spent. Travis went with him yesterday. Thought he was awesome. I know that Chris Lems really, really likes this horse. Both our remaining Indiana breds have interesting stories behind them. Both Massive Profit, who I think has got a good year ahead of him, and then also Spent, who I think also has a good year ahead of him. Both of these colts have done their work very well. Both have been in 2-4. Both have come Haas in 58 or 59, and both look like they're well on their way to racing in 2021. Hilla Magic, probably one of the most exciting horses on this list because I still have a ton of question marks that I don't have answered. She's going to answer them, but she's going to do it on her time. And Hilla Magic, impressive. Made the break on Wednesday. Justin couldn't really tell us why, and I think it's because she just got a little claustrophobic and rolled off. But Travis had her bottled up yesterday, and she finished up strong. Impressed with this filly. Confederate Cruiser. Now, his 3-year-old brother was raced. They went 150 the other night at Scioto. Scioto is such a speedway. This colt has already won in 53, paced in 52, and has looked good. And his brother seems to be coming along very, very nicely. Another horse, I can't tell you how good he's going to be, but I know he's done everything right so far. Resolute Bay, Johnny loves this horse. Loves Resolute Bay. He keeps telling me how good he's training and how good he's trained. I am impressed with him. I'm excited to see how he's going to race this year. Better Be Sawyer, another horse along the same lines. She's been getting better and better and better and better and better. Harry really likes her. Anybody that sits behind her really likes her. She's like a little race car, and you have to like what you see. I'm also going to throw 2 horses in that seem to be coming on right now. Stonebridge Dolce. Huge shout out to her. I know I haven't offered any shares up of her forever because she's been terrible. She's getting better and better. Been in 2.9, 2.10. Was a little sick yesterday, coughing, so they didn't take her to Mohawk. We'll see how she bounces back next week. And then Grace. Jimmy is pretty high on Grace. Has nothing but good things to say about her, and that's happy for me. I had a number of people say, hey, are you going to sell some shares of Grace? Yes, I will. I mean, I'm not trying to hoard them. I just wanted to make sure that she was a useful animal for everybody. So over the next week, I will be putting some shares of Grace up for sale. So there you have it. There's a list of horses I think everybody should take a look at. I might have missed a couple, but I don't think so. If your horse isn't on this list, I think that's, as I said, the Bettor's Delights, they're going to show up when the gate comes out. But I can't put you, all the horses on this list have shown something. Even though I think they'll be better when they see the gate. 3 Point Blue Chip, undefeated behind the gate. Horses coming on. But these other horses have not seen the gate yet, right? I'm looking at Century Invictus for when he sees the gate. Twinkle in Her Eye when she sees the gate. There's a number of other horses that could have went on the list, and the only reason they didn't is because these are horses that are doing it perfect right now. Right now. So, that is my list of horses to keep your eye on. We had an opening. We gave you Travis's, virtually his top 10 list. We gave you horses to keep your eye on. I'm going to talk about all the stables, all the 2-year-olds, all 3-year-olds in just a second.